Hey, this is Stef, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Stef Vachon, and I'm a human being. Again, welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast, finally loving and respecting ourselves. This is a podcast for the 2S LGBTQIA+ community, along with our friends, allies, and all human beings. I'm really happy to be here with you for today's episode. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, or specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I won't tell anyone how to do things or what to do. Instead, I will share my journey, and we will all share our journeys together. We will learn from each other how to move forward. Before we meet today's guest, I would like to share something with you. In the last episodes, I mentioned that I had my first skating events in the spring, and it went pretty well. Just to give you some context, in case you haven't listened to the previous episodes, after 15 years away from the ice, I returned to figure skating at 55 years old last summer. My first goal is to compete at the Gay Games in Valencia in 2026. So I've signed up for a few competitions just to get back into performing again. Music has always been a big part of my life, and of course, also in skating. I listen to all kinds of music. And choosing the perfect music for my program is really important. I love 80s music, especially the unique sound of the electronic and new wave. I still love and still listen to bands like New Order, Pet Shop Boys, Depeche Mode, A Flock of Seagulls, Kate Bush, Ann Clark, Mark Almond, Propaganda, The Smiths, and OMD. Some of them have even released amazing new albums recently. One of my all-time favorites, OMD, Orchestral Manners in the Dark. And they just released in 2023 their latest album, Baja Staircase. And it's absolutely incredible. It still has the 80s electronic sound, but with a modern touch. The first time I listened to it, I got to the last song, Healing. The beautiful melody caught my attention right away. I instantly knew this was going to be my music for my skating program. Since I could not understand all the lyrics at first, I started reading them on Spotify while listening to it. And it immediately brought me to tears, like that song had been written just for me. Let me read them to you. You will never die your death, but will you ever learn to live? Always sorry for yourself and what you had to give. Ever dreaming, looking down, never time to fix your crown. Diamonds sparkle as you're so. You're valued more than you can know. Healing, feeling. Set the course and feel the breeze. Let it go and live with ease. Still your body learn to float and ease the fist around your throat. Anchor up and hold on tight. Ride the riptide in your mind. Healing, feeling. Set the course and feel the breeze. Let it go and live with ease. It still gets me emotional just reading it. This is so beautiful and true. I'm sure I'm not the only one feeling this right now. I hope it makes you reflect on yourself and where you are in your personal journey. Okay, now let's talk about today's guest. When I started working on launching this podcast, I sent many messages to different organizations from our community. The TransLatina Coalition was one of the first to respond and gladly wanting to participate. They are in Los Angeles. Today, we're going to meet Maria, one of the amazing people being a part of this coalition. I will let Maria talk about who she is and the coalition. Let's go find out more about her right now. So, Maria, thank you so much for being with us today, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I hope that we have a really candid, honest conversation. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for thinking of us, the work that we do, and for having this platform. This is great.
Great. You guys were like the first, one of the first that I wrote. And I really, really wanted somebody like you to have to be on the podcast because I looked at everything you're doing
Mhm.
and it's fabulous. And I really hope that one day I can go to LA and go see you in real because that would be great.
We are here. Yes, I would love for you to see, to visit our site and see the work that we're doing here at
Yeah,
the TransLatina Coalition. So the invitation is open.
I would love to for
Yeah.
sure. I'll figure out something one day.
And with everything that's going here, I don't know if Canada is not necessarily an option for me too, you know? I mean,
Well, I didn't want to go there. I'll let you go there if you want to, but of
yeah,
course
yeah,
we're watching everything really closely
yeah,
because we have elections too coming pretty soon. And yeah, the tendency is it looks like there's a little bit of that coming up our way, and it looks like it's going pretty much everywhere in the world, as you know.
yeah,
So and we're being really careful. We're on our guards, as we say.
yeah.
Mhm.
We have to be, because I think we are kind of an example of what could happen.
Can you share your personal journey from arriving in the United States at 16 to becoming a leader in social services for the transgender community in Los Angeles?
Well, thank you for the question. I actually was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I lived all my youth in Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican. I am about to 55. And when I came to the United States at the age of 16, um, it was very challenging, right? I didn't really speak the language I very well. And at that time, I was already having some challenges with how I identify. Since a young age, I always knew I was different. But sometimes when you're that young, you don't really have the context or the vocabulary to be able to let people know what that is because you don't know it yourself. And
Mhm.
I, from a young age, knew that I felt I was a girl, and but you could not really even verbalize that. I had never met somebody that was trans. I didn't know that living authentically as a woman could be a possibility for me till much later. But at the age of 16, I had some challenges, pressure from my mom to be in a football team, pressure to be sort of to fit this expectation as a young man, then to do A, B, and C. And I just was failing at all of that. And it resulted in, at the age of 18, my mother kind of kicking me out of my house. So since the age of 18, I've been, navigating the streets and being homeless. And it's a miracle that today I am one of the leaders of one of the largest trans-led organizations in the United States. But that was a really long journey in a society that, throughout my life did not embrace who I was, did not embrace what I represented, did not understand me. And still today, we see that there's so many efforts to ensure that people like myself or people who are LGBT are in the sidelines, right? That we're sort of in the sidelines of society. And that's unfortunate, because just like anybody else's son or daughter, I deserve, and everybody who is LGBT deserves the same rights to happiness and to thrive and to go to school and to educate themselves and to be able to contribute back to society. So it was challenging being that young and being not accepted by everything around me that was supposed to be there to also protect, right? I'm a young person. You think that the people around you, including your family, will kind of protect
Mhm.
and guide you in the right direction. That was not the case for me.
I'm really sorry about that.
Mhm.
There's some noise in the back. Is that like construction in the
They're
street?
doing construction on the street.
Okay, I'll try to fix it on the.
Yeah,
I
it's
should be able to fix.
like a
Yeah,
hammer.
but
I was like, "Oh my god, there's so much noise." It's not that.
that's okay. Well,
Okay.
anyway, and people, I'll say it. Well,
Uh,
I'll just leave it like this so people know there might be some little noise, but I'll try to fix it.
yeah. Sorry, everybody. There's construction in our building somewhere. Sorry for the little sound effect.
Okay. What inspired you to join the TransLatina Coalition, and what were some of the initial challenges you faced in your role?
So why did I join the TransLatina Coalition and what inspired me? I've known Bambi for God almost 30 years. We both I was working at an organization called Venus Our Human Services, and at that time, I hired Bambi. We worked together for some time, and at that time, our dream was to create us. We always said, imagine if we had a space that was really for us, that was that had everything that we needed, right, for to support trans people. And at that time, we didn't have all the tools to be able to even think of how to make that happen. We continued to work in social work for years, and Bambi and a group of other Latino women created the TransLatina Coalition. That's how I became involved. I became involved at that time I would become the president of the board as a volunteer. I had another job in a nonprofit, but the work that they were doing wasn't is so important for a community because this is the first time that trans people, especially Latino trans women, are leading the way in the programs that are developed to service our community, the way that services are provided. And we are focused on the specific needs that our community has through a different lens, right? At that time, most services and programs were focused, and still most of the service across the United States and the world that are focusing on supporting trans people are sort of through this lens of HIV. And
Mm.
we are more than just somebody that could potentially be at risk for HIV. We wanted to really address all the social determinants of health, everything that leads to people having poor health outcomes. And, eventually Bambi would say, come work with us. And I was like, I don't know, girl, because we were really close friends. And, you never know. When you work with people, sometimes things change. But I've been here. I'm going to be the vice president of the organization. May 1st, it'll be 6 years that I work for the organization. And it's been a learning, challenging, rewarding experience, right? Because you don't get a binder that says, hey, here's your vice president binder. This is what you need to do. A lot of the stuff we have to create and build, and we are building something that had never been built before, right? We are one of the first trans-led organizations, and we have grown incredibly in the last 15 years. We just celebrated 50 years of the inception of this organization. And I wanted to be part of that. I'm inspired every day by both the stories of the people that come to our center, my own journey, and the journey of other men, women, and people who are gender expansive that come to our organization. And that's what really inspires me. But it's been challenging too, right? Because there's a lot of learning pretty fast. But I've been supported through that process.
And there's always new things to learn, and it keeps changing, right?
It,
So you always have to adapt.
yeah, you have to always grow with what's happening.
Yeah.
But it's been one of the most rewarding experience to find where my passion is and where I find the work that I'm doing is really changing lives and changing the landscape for trans people more now than ever. I think that the work that we're doing, it's incredible, and especially under the current landscape around the world in the United States.
I was gonna say, like, you're loving your job because you're doing something for the community. That's like
Yeah,
such a bonus.
yeah. And we have such a good time. I am around people that I can call my sisters, people that really love what they do too. And something that is beautiful about working with LGBT and trans people is that we are just fun, joyful people. I come to work and I laugh throughout the day, and we're doing important work that is serious though. But I think there's also joy in working with community and working in sisterhood. And not that it's perfect, but I love coming to work.
Well, I follow you guys on, especially on Instagram, and I just love your videos. I mean, they're
Me
so
too.
much
Yeah.
fun. They're so funny, and yeah, and I share them and I
Yeah.
laugh at them. They're great.
Yeah. You have to have joy, and you have to find joy even now with
Mm.
that we're going through systemic attack, right, by this administration. We find a way to really inspire people with joy and laughter, and know that we're resilient people and that we're going to figure this out no matter what they throw at us.
Mm.
We have always survived, thrived, grown, and I think we're going to do the same thing. Does not negate that it, it's going to be a 4 challenging years, and we see a lot of efforts across the world that are taking us back, which is so devastating. But the joy within our community of living authentically and being true to who you are, there's no price to that.
And do you see that? Well, at first, when this administration started, even me being here and starting this project, I got a little scared of the violence, on
Yeah,
social media and everything. But looking at you guys, following you and looking at the videos just helped me so much. Just like,
oh, that's
is that
great.
a word? De-dramatize? Is that a word?
De-traumatized, let's make it up,
Yeah.
even if it isn't.
Just to like
Yeah,
watching you guys
yeah,
having so much fun with everything that is going
yeah,
on. And I thought, there you go. That's what we have
yeah,
to do. And at the same time, I see a lot of this happening and a lot of people starting to stand up and say no. And then a lot of other people just making fun out of it, which is
yeah,
great. I think you're such a great example to all of us to just chill out and think, okay, we're not going to sit back and just be scared. We're going to do something about it, and we're going to even turn it around to make jokes out of it.
yeah. We have to take the power back, right? And we have to take charge in our narratives, because the thing is that they're trying to dehumanize us, make us not human beings. But in reality, we are just like everybody else. We're somebody's daughter, son, brother, sister. We're the people that are shopping at your grocery store. So we're just like everybody else. And I think that early on, I think that we gave ourselves permission for a couple of days to be like, oh my God, what has happened? But then you have to dust your wig off. You have to shake it off, and live authentically, live happy, find the joy in life, and also strategize. You have to figure out, what is it that we're going to do? How are we going to address this? How do we survive for the next 4 years? But it can't be from a place of fear. It has to be from a place of action, a place where we find joy in living, because that's what they want to do, is keep us, in fear, and in being fearful of going outside. And we can't do that. We can't allow them to do that, because then they win.
Yeah, yeah, and I even think that this is gonna make things turn around, maybe even more. I really hope that
Yeah,
with all these craziness, that we all gonna come out as a community, and we all gonna show up so much more than it
yeah.
might even change more, that advance the things for the future. I hope so. But
I think that when people start seeing the inhumanity, that I think we're gonna be, because I think that this does put us more at risk for violence. It does
mm,
put us more at risk for certain things. But I think once people blatantly see the inhumanity of folks, I hope that shifts larger groups of people to understand the importance of protecting our community.
Yeah.
The more visible I am on social media, the more hateful things I get. Like I've had people, I had this woman that recently messaged me on Instagram, and she's on her picture holding a little baby, like a beautiful picture of her holding this little baby. And then she messages, "Why don't you kill yourself?" Right?
Wow.
And is the inhumanity of holding a child that could potentially be a trans person in the future. But I hope that by us continuing to saturate the media with our love, our focus, our joy, that it would shift some people to see that we're not the boogeyman. We're not these dangerous people that they're making us out to be. We're regular people that need to go use the restroom like everybody else, and hopefully that shifts narratives little by little bit.
Do you think it's better to respond to that, like that message that you had, or I would think for myself, I just block. Or what do you
I
think it's
do
about?
sometimes, to be honest. I mean, sometimes I'm a little shady and depending on what they say. This person that said that, I just blocked them. I was going to take their picture and write some stuff, but it's too much energy, right?
Yeah.
But if they're saying, if somebody's calling me a man, I'll say something smart back, because it's like that's the best that you can. That's the best comeback you have for me, that I'm a man. I mean, really, out of all the things that you could say to me, I mean, what do you think? I'm stupid? I know I was born male, but it's just, it's the same old bully tactics that many of us experience in high school. These people have not grown out of that. But somebody that really is happy and fulfilled in their life doesn't have the time to spend on being hateful. I always think that when they look at me and I provoke so much hate from somebody, it's because I'm reminding them of something they've not fulfilled. And it's sad, at the end of the day, it's sad because, honey, I am thriving. No matter what you say to me, you're not gonna make me go in a closet and cry because you call me a man.
And what do you makes me laugh. What do, give me an example of what you would answer back if it's like somebody calls you a man, like a funny
Oh
thing. I
my
don't know.
God, I don't even know. I think, God, and not only me, some of the people that are my friends, there was this girlfriend of mine, her name is Cassandra Casta, and somebody said that you're a man, and that because you're a man, I should call you a man. And she said to this woman, "Well, you look like a pig. Should we call you Miss Piggy?" Which is silly, right? It's like also kind of childish, but it's funny too.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I'm
Yeah.
trying to block them more so and not engage, but there's moments where the back and forth of people, oh my God, it's so funny. We do get a lot of people that really comment on our social media, how it inspires them.
Yeah.
For a nonprofit, we're almost reaching 40,000 followers on Instagram, which is really good. People are really liking our content. I think it's inspiring people, and we're using it to really shift the narrative
Yeah.
about our people, So,
It's great. I'm following and I'm loving it.
oh, that's great. Thank you.
Can you tell us about some of the current initiatives and programs that the Latina Coalition is working on?
So one of the great things about the work that we've been doing is that we're looking both at the micro and macro level stuff, right? We understand that it's not only about providing direct services to our clients, but it's also about shifting how things are, the allocation of resources, both at the city level and the state level. We've been able, and you do that a lot of times through policy work. So we're working both at the state level and the local level in shifting policy and ensuring that there is law that allocates resources to the TGI community, specifically to other trans-led organizations. So we have been able to advocate for funding that is specifically to provide resources both at the state. We're doing that now at the city level and at the county level. And we're hoping that we are able to also create kind of a map of how to be able to successfully do this so people can replicate this across the United States. So that has been our focus. We're also supporting other organizations that are up and coming with technical assistance and support so that way they can build their infrastructure, be able to apply for funding. I do think that the current landscape is going to throw a little wrench in some stuff for the next 4 years, but we're going to continue to look for allies and people that are supporting the work that we're doing to ensure that they allocate funding and resources to programs like in organizations like us.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is hard to do work if you don't have resources.
Yeah, of course.
You can have the best intentions, you can have the best wants, but unless you're able to allocate resources to create the programming, you're not able to really succeed. We are also building a center here in Los Angeles that's going to be historic. It's we are in the process of building it. There's a bug here. I'm sorry. I don't know how there's a bug in my office. Oh my God. Sorry, everybody. How did you get in here? She's like flying on my face. And I'm like, oh my God, apology. But those are some of the stuff that we're doing right now, really focusing on funding, doing budget advocacy at the different levels of government and building the infrastructure of other trans-led organization of our people.
That's so great. People can look up to you, like all the new organization can look up to you and see what you're doing.
We built some coalitions that includes a multitude of organizations that are trans-led across the state. And again, the goal is to create a system that can be replicated in other states.
Yeah.
We know that in certain states, obviously there is some challenges with their local government, but the goal is that we begin to create the structures that will support our community, really allocate funding, something that wasn't done before, and it's historic for our organization and our community.
Well, congratulations. That's great.
Oh, thank you. We're also having the March for Humanity in August. It's the first time we will have a march. The goal of the march is to really secure the funding for our organization. We're hoping to, and there will be more information that will be available. We're hoping to get 100 people that will commit to raise $1,000 to support the work that our organization is doing. So we are going to be rolling that out and creating teams of people that will march together to the location where our new building will be built.
Wow.
It will be later this year in August.
Great.
Yeah.
What are some of the most pressing challenges facing the trans community today, and how can allies support the cause?
I think that the challenges, obviously, is what the biggest one right now here in the United States is the current administration, right, at every level. The fact that at a policy level, they're trying to create laws or bring up laws that are discriminatory in its nature, and laws that will erase us from public life. In essence, they want us to not be able to live authentically. And I think that folks need to really use their power. I think if each person understands that they can make a difference by either calling their local council member, their local senator, volunteering for a march, calling a local organization, volunteering your time. Those things are critical and important. If there is a petition, to sign the petition, because I think right now more than ever, there has to be pressure back into what's happening. And you do that by numbers and people really supporting work. So I hope that people look for ways in their local communities, how they can donate their time if not their time, resources. And you'd be surprised how 10, 15, $20 can really support organizations and efforts to really fight back all this new efforts that are discriminatory. So I think that's definitely something that can happen. The challenges have continued to be the same, some of the same challenges I faced when I was 16. The lack of housing, discrimination on every level of society when you're looking for employment, housing, you know, some of the basic things that a lot of us just take as our day to day, like being able to feed yourself, have
Hmm.
shelter, and work, are some of the challenges that the youth are facing. And I think we're going to be getting an influx of youth from across the United States that are going to be leaving those states that are discriminatory. That might lead to them to think that California might be a better home for
Hmm.
them. So, um, yeah, find ways for you to really support with your time.
Reflecting on your journey, what personal growth experiences have been most significant and how have they shaped your resilience?
I think for me, to be honest, I never thought that I would be doing community work, that I would be leading an organization. Doing this work was not something that I envisioned for myself. But to be honest, at the age of 26, a lot of my friends had died of HIV.
Mm.
And noted and noticed that there was not a lot of women like me that were involved in that work then. There was a few of us, like me, Bambi, Brenda Gonzalez, other women that at that time we were the condom ladies. We were the women in the streets giving out condoms. We, it was our first job, and we were health educators, and um, that has led to me finding my voice, finding my mission in life, and finding something that fulfills me as a human being. The work that I'm doing now is my life's work, right? This is the work that I feel I was intended to do. And I feel so blessed to have been able to find that, to recognize that one, there is a power in being able to stand in my truth and use my voice to yell, scream, and sometimes say it nicely, what we need as a community. Um, and through that, I feel so rewarded in everything I do every day. And what a blessing.
What advice would you give to young trans individuals who aspire to become activists and advocates for their community?
I think if you're a young person today that want to be involved, I think you have to first make sure that you are okay, right? That some of the things that you need as a human being are being met. You know,
Mhm.
ask for support, get resources, ensure that you're in a place that you can be stable to give back to a community. I think that at the core, we have to start with ourselves. Um, and not be don't let fear kind of stop you from being authentic. I think a lot of people are it's it can be a fearful path, right? To transition. It could be a scary step to take. But I think once you live authentically, everything else comes into place. And there's resources out there for people to learn how to um, get involved, learn how to become a leader within their communities. So look for those. Look for mentors that can support you in your journey to give back.
Mhm.
Volunteer again to marches. Go to your local LGBT or trans-led organization and ask them if they have a position or whether it's an entry level or a volunteer position, and start from there.
What is your vision for the future of the trans Latina community, and what steps do you believe are necessary to achieve it?
My vision is that we create a impact in society where being a trans person is not sort of this taboo thing where people don't use that as a means to discriminate a whole segment of the community. I hope that the organization can be at a place where we continue to have centers throughout the United States where people can come and access services. We're going to a job interview and being really considered for a job as a trans person is not a big deal, right? That is just like you're there, what are your qualifications? And
Mm,
your transness becomes second to what you are able to bring to the table. I hope that we continue to prepare the future leaders of our community because me and Bambi won't be here forever, right? And we are trying to build an infrastructure and things that will really support the future generations. I hope that the world is just not so hateful towards us
mm.
and that they see the humanity and the beauty of our community because we are beautiful people. I think there's bad people in any community.
Yeah,
No matter what community you look for, there are some people that, but you can't label a whole entire community as bad. Um, can't. And, my goal is that the future of trans people is not really just focused on their transness, but in who they are as people.
exactly. That's it. And it's I think it's for everyone to teach our kids
Yeah.
to just be respectful and loving anybody for who they are and not teach the hate that what we see too much of this right now.
And I think people forget that we are somebody's child, like we're
Exactly.
not this, we didn't come out of nothing. We're your next door neighbor's kid. We're like the people in your family.
Mm.
We're not this horrible boogeyman,
No criminals. That's it.
you
It
know what I'm
has
saying?
nothing to do. Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy. And I think the lies of safety for women and girls that is being utilized against particularly trans women around bathroom issues is silly. I've been going to the bathroom, and it's not, we go there to do the same thing everybody else does. I mean,
Yeah. It's just to I think it's for something else, but it's
yeah,
just to make people want to stay at home and not get
yeah,
out.
to make
It's
us all afraid. Well,
yeah.
you're not gonna
But
do that to me.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what
I
I'm
will
trying to
see you
say.
in your nearest bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah,
But well, Maria, that's that's it for us for today. And um, it was so nice to finally meet you. And
likewise, Steph. Thank you. I love your background too. The heart with all the
oh, thank you. Nobody said that yet. And I
beautiful.
was like, I just feel like I'm wrapped up into
Oh,
this.
you're wrapped in all that beauty. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I really hope to go to LA soon one
Yeah.
day, and I will for sure go visit you guys. So
Maybe for some of the prides, it gives you an excuse to come
that would be great.
to
Yeah,
be in the
that
parade
would
with
be
us. We're
fabulous.
excited for these prides coming up.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, and
All right, hon.
say
Thank
hi
you.
to everybody.
Okay, I will. Bye.
Bye. Maria's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, advocacy, and community. Through her work with the TransLatina Coalition, she continues to uplift, empower, and fight for the rights of trans, gender expansive, and intersex individuals. Her dedication serves as an inspiration for future generations of activists and allies alike. As we move forward, her vision for a more inclusive and equitable world reminds us all of the importance of standing together and amplifying the voices of those who need it most. Maria, thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom, and your unwavering commitment to making a difference. It has been an honor to have you on the podcast. Everyone, I'm always looking for guests to interview on the Together Moving Forward podcast. I want to showcase everyone from our community without exception. And I want as many people as possible from around the world to join in and be a part of this. If you have suggestions or think you can contribute something meaningful and give back to our community, please reach out. Visit our website at the togethermovingforwardpodcast.com and send me an email. I will be waiting for you. My dear friends, It's already time to say au revoir just for now. I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Your presence and support means a lot. And I can't wait to continue this journey together next Wednesday with another episode of the Together Moving Forward podcast. Everybody, share this podcast and spread the good news. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. One last thing before I go. Put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. All of us together. My voice matters and I will be heard. Yes, my voice matters and I will be heard. See you next week. Ciao.